Latin America, as you alluded to, holds a dominant position in the global production of critical minerals. The region boasts about 40% of the world's copper production. I think that's right, and supplies about a third, maybe a little more than a third of global lithium, serving that market, thanks to significant contributions from Chile and Argentina. The U.S. increasingly is depending on access to these critical minerals, some of it driven by consumer demand, much of it driven by regulation and legislation. China continues to increase investments in mineral-rich territories across the world, including several Latin American countries. You just mentioned this. So given China's strong foothold in the mining sector throughout Latin America, how might the U.S. effectively compete to safeguard its own access to these indispensable resources?
This will be a matter of incentivizing investment on the part of not just U.S. companies, but partner nation companies as well. And it was part of what I had hoped to communicate in my 5 minutes of commentary, and hopefully I do so in my written testimony more convincingly, that we need to focus our efforts to compete effectively with China, not just in the Western Hemisphere, but globally, are very wide-ranging. Some of them are more effective than others. I think they're growing more sophisticated and more creative. We're coming up with new solutions to overcoming some of the barriers that we've encountered to being agile and investing in, within a certain time frame that will make us competitive and allow us to access critical assets. But right now, there is very limited incentive on the part of some companies to engage, depending upon the country, depending upon the regulations in place and the investment environment.
Well, it seems to me, and I won't be long, but just an observation, and maybe you can kind of nod or offer a 10-second response, but there's a certain methodology that we need to approach as we think about critical minerals. We need to do our best to assess the current and future need for particular discrete critical minerals. We need to figure out where all those are found or those are supposed to be at particular estimated rates of extraction. There's a lot of different assumptions associated with these different scenarios. Then we need to divide and conquer with trusted allies and determine who's going to get the lithium, who's going to get the copper. And of course, along the way, we need to figure out where we can have a requisite processing capacity for each of these different things. All of this should be laid out, made available to members of Congress, either in a classified setting or unclassified. And I haven't seen it. We pass I say we, the People's Congress. Some of us, are more supportive than others. I wasn't super enamored because I think a lot of this work should have been done on the front end of an Inflation Reduction Act. But this is now the law of the land. We're wedding ourselves to this electrification future. And I don't know where the work is. I don't know where the homework is. Now we're scurrying around. We've actually, in the interest of environmental improvement, which is a very important public policy imperative, we have made our supply chains more brittle at a time where on the semiconductor side and other areas, we're talking about more resiliency. So I'm publicly lament this, but I have quietly and privately tried to shop around for answers. We're just not getting them.
I'm sorry. If I could just say, I couldn't agree more with the need for better understanding of the overall landscape and also a strategic plan in this respect. At the same time, we need to understand exactly what China is offering the region, and it's low price, good bids, right, but also promises to help to develop production capacity by building battery factories and wide-ranging other things. Some of these are empty promises, some of them are coming to pass, but if we are to be competitive in this sense, we have to compete, including on their terms.
Thank you all.